Wow.
And so I was clearly aware that I was not the best candidate for that position. I just knew it's because they need somebody who looks like me. At that time I was at the paging services, and yes, we all panicked about Y2K. We all took our bank statement printouts, 30th of December to prove 1st of January that this is our money. and yeah, so it was an interesting period in the sense that number one, by now I had held 2 positions already where, putting hand to heart, those jobs I got because of my skin.
Oh.
Because, and very often when I go to Estonia or any other places, people ask me, is Kenya racist? And I tell them, yes, it is. And Kenya is racist because it discriminates against its own. And I am so very aware that I am privileged. I am so aware that I get favors. I'm so aware that there are things I was able to achieve simply because of the color of my skin.
And here's the thing that you're saying. It's not by people with the same skin color as you.
No.
It is Kenyans, blacks,
Yes.
being prejudiced to their own.
Yes.
And choosing somebody else because in their minds, they believe that person is better because of their skin color.
Correct.
That is the height of the effect of colonialism.
Absolutely.
That is the epitome of it, where you think you're lesser than other people. You yourself believe somebody else is better on no other basis but on the skin color.
Yes.
Wow.
And so I was clearly aware that I was not the best candidate for that position. I just knew it's because they need somebody who looks like me. And so, yes, it gave me many interesting openings, opportunities, but knowing that the only reason I am here is my outside, not my inside.
Oh. And in your house, you're the only one who looks like you, in your nuclear family. Because your son looks like you and your husband, so skin color may be a bit different, and your husband definitely looks different.
Yeah, but you see, I think at the very same time, it was one of those experiences where, it's kind of like, let's call it out-of-body experience for the sake of it. So, because I think it was, I had lived in Kenya long enough by that time. There was one time I was in a bus, in a matatu, I don't know, what it was.
In a matri!
Yeah, of course, why not? And so, but I think it was one of the bigger ones. Maybe it was even Kenya bus back then. And so... it was 20 bob. In fact, when I came to Kenya, you see, the reason it's called matatu is because it used to cost 3 bob.
Yes.
Whichever...
When I found out, it was actually 3 cents, and then later it became 3 bob.
Okay, yeah.
By that time, it was 3 bob.
Yeah, but now, you see, when I came, it was already 5 bob. So I was just, 2 shillings after it was the original 3 bob. So anyway, so I'm sitting in the bus, and, I'm just, minding my own business. It's all good. And so I'm having a thought. If I stood in front of the bus and looked back at the bus, I would look different visually. But here I am sitting and I don't feel different. And so it was, and even now, every now and then, if I go somewhere where I'm waiting for service and I'm like, okay, I've asked them for this. Now, will they remember I'm the one who asked? Because to me, I'm like everybody else who's waiting for that service.
Yes.
But to the person who's giving the service, yeah, they remember there's that Muzungu who was asking. So to me, I'm just.
But do you know you're different?
Well, I don't.
No. What I mean
But
is...
you see, that's the thing. In my mind, I would need to stand outside myself to look at myself to visually see difference.
I get it.
But to me, I don't feel different.
And when I say different, it's that mindset, because there's places where, okay, granted, it's changing. A lot of this is changing. Kenya has become very cosmopolitan. You will find Wazungus in Roysambu.
Yeah,
You get what I mean?
Yes.
In Ruaka.
Yeah.
But back then, your skin tone would be in the Karens, in the Gigiris, and definitely not catching a matatu.
Yeah, so.
And that's what I'm saying. The difference is your mindset in how then you saw, I don't know, the world that you lived in. I'm trying to figure out what, I like that mindset. That's why you see I'm dwelling here. I like that mindset that you have of the world and of yourself. And how, I don't want to say you don't see color, but it doesn't allow you to make choices on the basis of it.
Well, and see, maybe the way I would say it is like this. So I think for many other foreigners who land in a foreign country, the first thing they do is they look up, okay, are there any people from my country here? I already knew there was none.
I get it. 001. It's you. Index 1.
And so, as a result, I had no reason to try and look for, so to say, my clan.
Ooh.
Because my clan wasn't from Estonia.
Yeah.
It was the people I met when I came.
Oh. And okay, let's remove Nairobi. Did you ever go to Kisumu?
Yes, of course. Yes.
How was that?
But you see, do you remember me talking of my countryside cottage where, we would grow things? And, countryside is countryside. Forest is forest. Farm is farm.
Lake is lake.
Lake is lake, yeah. I mean, next to my summer cottage is Lake Vărțearv, and next to his summer cottage is Lake Victoria. Vărțearv, Victoria. They even sound the same.
Okay, so what other jobs do you get? When I come back to Estonia, I want to come back to Estonia in 2000.
All right.
So before that.
Yeah. So that's the point at which, yes, I'm working at the paging services, and it's interesting, engaging with the technology here. It's also the time. Some of the interesting things that have occurred in meantime is I bought a computer for myself because. I mean, it's logical for me to have a computer. And it was one of the days when there was some challenges with the computers at paging services, when I said, well, I mean, if paging services has issues with computers, let me bring my own computer to work, because, I mean, I need to work with my computer. And so it was rather irregular, because, paging service said, no, wait. I mean, we are a technology company. How are you bringing your own computer to work? And I said, yeah, but, your computer, you were not able to maintain. It had some issues, whatever it was. I need to work. And so, yeah, so I had my own computer, I think, for several years already by then.
But that's not normal. At that time, even because I'm in Kenya, so I understand. I mean, I had a computer then, and I know that was a standalone. Prince of Persia, playing it games, but connected even to the internet is not a lot. Okay, let me say this. This device here is the way majority of Kenyans access the internet for the first time. The mobile phone.
Yes.
It was the first screen. It was the first doorway in which majority of Kenyans access the internet. Anybody accessing the internet, and via cybers was still ahead, but that's cybers.
But you see, by the year 2001, on the other hand,
That's now when.
was when I had connected the internet to my apartment direct from the internet backbone. I had the literal fiber optic cable of that time into my apartment. Yeah, how?
That's a question, how?
Because it just so happened that next to my apartment was one of the ISPs, and they were trying to tell me about, dial-up and modem and all this. And I said, look, you are 50 meters away. Why don't I just pull a LAN cable? Like, really? And we pulled the LAN cable. We agreed on what my monthly rate is. And 2001, I was direct on the main internet backbone.
I'm using that black privilege. What on earth? But also location to where, that's aligned. So your internet was fast. There's not that.
Well, for the time I stayed at that apartment, yes.
And what were you doing? You're still working at the...
So that time I was working with some of the security companies, but then shortly by 2002, I started my own business.
Okay.
Yes.
We'll come back to 2002, Kadri life. Let's now switch to Estonia.
Yes.
So
sure.
what's happening now in 2000 in Estonia?
So,
and going forward now.
Right. So this is the time when, yes, so Estonia has created the interoperability.
Aha, this is what we need to explain.
Right. So interoperability means that it's like a communication highway that is able to communicate.
In fact, hold on, Kadri. Let's stop. Let's take a quick break. Let's come back to have this conversation. I want this to be its own video.
Okay, sure.
3, 2, 1, let's go!
What up? As you can clearly see, there's a change of venue. We're in the bus all the way from Tartu city
is moving
back to Estonia. See what I did there?
Yeah.
By the way, everybody in the bus say pass the spoon.
Pass the spoon.
So my name is Esther, and my point for today is this: what do you do when life gives you oranges? Guys can't answer, so let me answer.
You didn't give us the chance.
You throw away the oranges, you take some lemons, and you make lemonade. Let me explain. I'm very serious, by the way. So why do I give that analogy? Because I've been having different conversations with people. Yesterday I had a one-on-one meet. First of all, big shout out to Poji for making that meet happen. You understood the version of collaboration. And what I realized from a lot of the technology or the solutions that Estonians have built, they didn't have oranges. They've not been given oranges in the situations that they have. They've never had oranges. Yeah. They've just started straight up from lemons, and raw lemons, as a matter of fact. Yeah. What do I mean by that? For example, their population is only 1.3 million. So because their population is only 1.3 million, like Tartu, where we've just come, has how many guys? 100,000 people. Yeah. Because of that, from the get-go, they've had to think of solution building from a Europe perspective. Right. They didn't start like us guys who have oranges. We have 54 million people, and so we just start for building for Nairobi city. Forget even those 54 million people. Because of those situations, they've had to build, and instantly they're building their product in Polish, in French, in English, in Estonian. So they are starting automatically, because of the situation that life has put them in, they're automatically starting from a global mindset.
Right.
So why am I saying that? You've got to be intentional about putting yourself in inconvenient spaces, because it is
inconvenient.
Yes. Intentionally
uncomfortable.
Intentionally put, I like that word better. Intentionally put yourself in uncomfortable spaces, and because of that, you're going to think of solutions that are out of your norm.
Right.
Yeah.
Pass the spoon.
Pass the spoon.
Pass the spoon.
Pass the spoon.
So, do you want the spoon?
No, you could have the spoon.
I have the spoon.
Okay.
A very good example of that actually is GovStack. So we've all been looking at the Shisha situation and how difficult it has been for us to do the most basic thing of administering healthcare to folks using a system that is easily buildable anywhere in the world. GovStack was Estonia understanding that they couldn't afford the typical multinational products that were provided by the companies, the tech companies that were there in the world. Because at that point, there were like 900,000, 1 million people, and they couldn't afford all the tools that were available to them.
Yes.
So what they did was they looked internally.
Yep.
And they were able to build out a government stack of technology products that they could implement that allowed them to serve their people so comprehensively that now you can do everything online, including divorce.
Yeah.
That was the only thing that was left.
Yep.
And why was that? It's because they understood that if it's out there and we can't afford it, we can build it ourselves and build it well.
They were talk about it when they started.
Because they're building it for themselves.
Yeah.
They're not building it because they're thinking that there's opportunities outside.
Yeah.
They're building it because they understand the opportunities are within them. Yeah. We as Kenyans are one of the most technological savvy folks on the continent, if not the world. We've built products that have been shipped abroad. We've got people living abroad, building things abroad for people abroad, and we can't bring those things home because we are always thinking, how can I take advantage of my neighbor and the other person across the street? Why can't we just think that if we build it right, we will serve not just us and the people coming after us, we will elevate so much more than just putting money in my pocket. How much cooler is it if of the 55 million people in our country, all of them were able to access medical care? How much cooler is it if that 200, 500, 700,000 shillings was actually money put in by all 55 million? How much cooler would it be if everybody who was ever sick could be able to go and leverage on that? Instead, right now, it's less than 3%. 3%.
Yeah.
That's what I read in the papers. 3%. Why is it? We don't trust the system. If you get to trust a system and the system works, success is the only thing you're left with. Pass the spoon.
Pass the spoon.
Pass the spoon.
I saw you rode on my spoon though.
First of all,
Which is all good.
we carried this spoon on this bus. Okay, all right. Yeah,
The spoon is moving.
Yeah. All right.
So did that.
So
pointing finger.
here's the thing. I learned about this a couple of years ago. You know this thing called ikigai.
Yes.
Okay, what you love doing, what you need, what you're good at, and what you can be paid for.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant my office. My office is sorry.
And the principle around that is find a place where all those things meet, and that's where you call that your convergence, the point of convergence. That's the same thing I'm seeing here in Estonia. That there are different players, different sectors who look for a place of convergence. All right? And the place of optimum production comes from where all of them have collaborated and are operating at a place of convergence. There's those who have a place of need. There are those people who are good at something. There are those people. I mean, that's it. And this is what I'm just going to say to you. Find your place of convergence, where your occupation and your vocation meet. That is a place of optimum output. And if you thrive, where you thrive is at that point of convergence. Pass the spoon.
Find your ikigai.
Yeah.
Whoa, guys. You know, we've just left and after seeing an institution that is over 300 years old.
Wow.
The home of almost every innovation that we are talking about today.
Yeah.
And I feel so challenged with this one question. Am I Omena or am I a shark?
You know I like
Are
omena.
you Omena?
I like Omena.
Or are you a shark? Listen.
Break it down.
Listen.
Shark.
Omena swims in the shallow end. It has a culture of surviving every day, day by day.
And there are many.
And there are many
At the same time.
at the same time. A shark, it thrives in the deep seas.
Yeah.
It has a culture of commandeering the seas.
Yeah.
It dictates the atmosphere of the sea.
Yeah.
So what the guys we've just seen, you know, students from Tartu University, they created the first Estonian nano satellite.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All of them, they ended up owning businesses. Yeah. Everybody was looking for them.
Yeah.
We've just seen a 28-year-old lady who is saying 20 years from today, you'll be able to charge your phone instantly. Yeah,
With a hair.
with a hair, a microtube.
Yeah.
These guys are not talking about today. They are dictating how 20 years from today will look like.
That's deep sea.
That is deep sea stuff.
Yeah.
So, and the thing is this: I discovered today that innovation is not just a mindset.
Yeah.
Innovation is a multi-generational culture. Their grandfathers were innovators.
Yes.
Their fathers today are innovators, and their children are
We'll be innovators.
We met an 84-year-old innovator.
today innovator.
Yes, having a business.
Innovator.
Yes.
These guys are sharks. And as I go home, I'm asking myself, am I an omena or a shark? That's the challenge. Are you omena or a shark?
Yeah.
And you, are you omena or a shark? The choice is yours. Pass the spoon.
Pass this spoon.